You're listening to the Build Your Wealth podcast, episode number 37. Being an entrepreneur is not for the faint of heart. On today's show, I'm covering some of the objections I hear most often as to why you may be afraid to start your own online business. So I hope you'll stick around and have a listen. Ugh. It's that time of day again. Time to get up and make someone else rich. Hi there and welcome to the Build Your Wealth podcast. I'm your host, Nicole Thompson. Over the years, I've taken the skills I've learned as a dedicated employee in multiple fields and turned it into a thriving six-figure online business to create a wealth of my own. Now I'm here to teach you how to do the same thing. I share my successes and failures as an online business owner with you to help you avoid the pitfalls that can come with being an entrepreneur in the online space. It's my goal to help you achieve your success faster, adopt the right mindset for that success, and to show you how failing forward is all part of the process in building your wealth instead of someone else's. This is the Build Your Wealth podcast. Well, hey there. Welcome back to another episode of the Build Your Wealth podcast. I'm your host, Nicole Thompson, and today is the day to kick your fears about starting your own online business to the curb once and for all. Because I'm going to be talking about some of the biggest objections I hear most frequently from my clients who want to start their own online business but are still hesitating. So if you've thought about starting your own business but you've been too scared to pull that trigger, then this episode is definitely for you. Because today I'm taking the objections that I hear the most frequently and I'm tossing them right in the fire. So let's get started. So the objection I probably hear the most is, who am I to be an entrepreneur? And to be completely honest, this is one that I've dealt with myself in the beginning. Frankly, when I look through my list of these objections, I can see myself in just about every single one of them. So by having been in those shoes, I can tell you firsthand how you can successfully get past them. So who are you to be an entrepreneur? Well, let me start by saying, above all else, you are enough. Who you are is exactly who you need to be to make your dreams come true. There's absolutely no reason whatsoever that you aren't entitled to go after the things that you want the most in life. It's your life. Don't let anyone else in this world decide how you're going to live it. Not your spouse, not your parents, not your best friend since grammar school. Nobody should be determining if you get to have your dreams come true or not, except you. These are your dreams, your goals, your ambitions. No one is ever going to want them more than you. So if there's something you really want to achieve in life, then you need to go make it happen, damn it. And one of the main tips I can give you is to stop comparing yourself to everybody else who's already achieved the goals that you're aiming to achieve. I absolutely love the saying, don't compare your chapter 1 to someone else's chapter 20. All too often as entrepreneurs, we tend to see ourselves in the future light, which is great, but when we don't reach our goals as fast as we envision them happening, we start to doubt ourselves. We see our idols on social media who are just killing it and wonder, why can't I have that kind of success? We don't always take into account that the person we're idolizing has been doing this for many, many years, because they don't always show their humble beginnings and the struggles that they've gone through to get to where they are today. But we all have to start somewhere, and the beginning isn't always pretty. If you watch a construction site of a gigantic high-rise building in the making, it's dirty and dusty, with scaffolding and rebar sticking up through the concrete. The workers are dirty and sometimes scuffed up from working on creating this massive structure. But when you see the completed building with its shiny clean lines and polished floors, you don't always look back to think about its dirty, dusty, scuffed up beginnings. But without that strong foundation that took all the dirty, arduous labor to complete that beautiful, shiny high-rise, it wouldn't be standing. Always remember the humble beginnings of anything big and strong. And don't compare yourself to what someone else is doing. It's perfect to watch others who are going down the path that you want to travel successfully to see how they're doing it, but use it for inspiration and then turn it into something of your own. And that leads me into objection number 2 as to why you're still hesitating to start your own business. And that's the fear that what you want to do has already been done. Listen, people have been on this planet for a really long time. And there's billions of us trying to figure out the best way to make this world go round, to live our best lives. There is nothing that hasn't already been done before. Nothing is new. There's nothing that hasn't already been said or done in some way, shape, or form. However, that being said, there is always a new perspective on how something can be said or done. There's always a different point of view from which to look at something. How you see the world is unique to you and you alone. No one else in this world will ever see it the same way as you do. You are what makes what you do special and unique. You are what makes your offering something that the world needs now. And here's a perfect example. Since you're listening to this podcast, I have to assume you also listen to others. So you're getting a lot of different viewpoints from a lot of different people, a lot of different experts. And if you start to listen very carefully, many of them are saying basically the same thing as everyone else. But they're saying it after they've processed it through their own personal lens. They've taken the information that they've learned and used towards their successes and are explaining how they see it by putting it through their own perspective and are offering their opinion on how they feel that statement affects them and how it could benefit you. I know sometimes for me, it'll take hearing the same statement from several different people before one of them will say it in just the right way that something will click for me. That for some reason, hearing it said from one certain person's perspective all of a sudden makes it crystal clear, even though I've heard it at least a dozen times before. So don't be afraid that what you have to offer has already been done before, because it's never been done by you before. Objection number 3 that I hear a ton is, I don't have time to start my own business. And to that, I'm going to ask you a question. What do you want most in life? Because you can choose to sacrifice some of your spare time now to work toward making your dreams come true. Or you can continue to binge watch Netflix series or Game of Thrones or scroll through your social media feed in your downtime and never really reach your goals in any meaningful way. Here's a little eye-opening exercise that I really encourage you to try. For 1 week, take note of how often you open up your Facebook or Instagram and just scroll through the feed. Not the times you're actually using them to grow your audience, just the times you're not posting anything on social media and you're just scrolling. Even if you think back to how often you just did this last week. Our phones are in our hands all the time. And we've been preconditioned to constantly click to check to see what's happening on social media. I know I've been guilty of opening up the apps without even thinking about it. It's such an ingrained habit that we don't even realize we're doing it half the time. I mean, who's with me on being totally obsessed with having to clear away those persistent little red notification bubbles that pop up on every app to let you know that something new has taken place that you must absolutely look at right now? Is it just me? I bet it's not. Well, I hope not, at least. But I digress. Let's finish up with this exercise. So take note of how much time you spent on social media for just 1 week. And then I challenge you to take that amount of time that you spent and dedicate it towards your own business. Putting just 1 or 2 hours a week towards chasing after what you truly want the most in life. Because yes, it would be ideal to spend as much time as possible on building your business so that you can quit your day job sooner and have more time with your family and friends or on vacations or whatever your goals are. But if you only have 1 or 2 spare hours a week, do you want to spend them subconsciously scrolling through social media in a daze? Or catching up on your favorite TV shows? Or do you want to create something that's going to make a massive difference in your future? There's a quote by Rachel Hollis where she says, "Success is about choosing what you want right now versus what you want most." So wouldn't it be worth sacrificing a little bit of your TV or social media time now to have the life that you dream about having? Now that leads me into objection number 4, and that's guilt. Now this is one that I've personally probably struggled with the least, simply because I've been lucky enough to always have my family being very supportive of what I've been doing. And I've been very blessed and very lucky in that respect, and I'm eternally grateful to have that kind of support in my life. And I realize that not everyone has that. However, I am a recovering people pleaser, so there's definitely been times where I felt that guilt creep in when I'm working on my business instead of, say, sitting on the couch on a Sunday watching TV with my hubby, because I know he'd prefer to have me there. But again, I say, by sacrificing a little bit now, you can gain so much more later. And you know what else? Why not you? Why can't you chase your dreams? Just think about the life you can provide for your family and the example that you're setting for your kids by showing them that you chased your dream. You made it come true. And so can they. I say again, no one is going to want your dreams as much as you want them. And finally, objection number 5, perfectionism. Perfection is the destroyer of action. This one has been a huge struggle for me. I've spent tons of time in inaction simply because I was chasing that unattainable perfection. And the most useful thing that I've learned in moving the needle forward is that done is better than perfect. Just get something started, put something out there, and then build on that. You can have the most perfect looking product in the world, but if you never show it to anybody because you don't feel as though it's ready for others to see because you don't think it's perfect, you'll never know how amazing what you've created truly is. And the item that you've created is never going to help anybody. Put something out there and then tweak it later, but just start somewhere. No, this is not going to happen overnight. It's going to take work, time, and dedication. It's going to take a determination that you're going to need to feel right down to your bones. It's going to take making mistakes and experiencing failures. It's also going to take learning from those mistakes and failures and continuing on in the face of fearing failing again. Being courageous is not about not being afraid. It's about doing what you're afraid of despite that fear. It's looking fear in the face and saying, not today. It's about saying, I am enough. I am worth what it's going to take to get my dreams. Be braver than your fears. Be stronger than your weakness. Be determined when you feel tired, and be courageous when you feel the most afraid. And that's when you'll see the biggest accomplishments happen in your life. So how about it? Now are you ready? If you think you might be ready to start taking the steps to creating your own online business, then I invite you to sign up to be notified for my free 5-part video series workshop that I'll be opening up for enrollment shortly. To save your seat, go to NicoleThompsonNow.com/video workshop so you don't miss a thing. In this workshop, I'll be covering why you should start your own business, types of online businesses, benefits of starting your own business, what might be holding you back, and I'm giving away my #1 biggest tip on how you can 10x your profits and finally start making some real money online. You won't want to miss it. That link to sign up for the free video series workshop again is NicoleThompsonNow.com/video workshop, and I'll pop a link into the show notes too. I hope you'll join me in the workshop, and I can't wait to see you back here next week for another episode of the Build Your Wealth podcast. I'll see you then.